This is Tony with the Red Power Team. Today we're going to cover a flagship 8250 combine with a platform head and how to do header height calibrations. So we're going to first walk through how to do the head settings in the Pro 700 monitor, and then we're going to get into doing the calibration of the actual platform head itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hook our head up, make sure we've got our electrical connection connected to the combine, as well as the head latched to the feeder house. So once we've got that done in the monitor, we're going to press our back button. We're going to go to Toolbox. Once we're in Toolbox, we're going to scroll to the right and press our Head 1 tab. Underneath Head 1, we just want to verify that we've got all of our settings correct for the platform head. As we go through here, we're going to see that our frame type, we've got a flex header on. We have a 35-foot head. Since we're running just WAS level guidance, we're only going to run 33.5 feet for our target width, and that's what the guidance is going to base off of. A couple other settings that we want to make sure we get is auto cut width. We're going to turn auto cut width on. That way it can automatically adjust our head width as we're going across the field based on our GPS. We then go to our Head 2 tab, and there's a couple settings we want to double check on our Head 2 tab. The first one is up top, header sensors enabled. So we want to make sure we have our header sensors enabled. Header height tilt response. Generally with a platform head, we'll put this on fast. That way as you're combining across the field, we get a little bit quicker response out of our header height system. As we keep moving down, I'm going to scroll down in the list, and a couple others is we look at reel speed minimum. Right now it's set to 3 miles an hour. Sometimes when we get into tougher beans, I like to slow this minimum speed way up around that mile per hour. That way as I slow down, I can really slow that reel speed down as well. As I keep scrolling down, a couple other options that we're going to want to double check to see we have is, depending on our platform head, if we have some reel sensors as far as the horizontal position and vertical position of the reel. Where that comes into play is when you do your set points 1 and 2, you can have your reel auto adjust when it goes to the ground to a certain point, and then when you raise your head up, it will go, your reel will move in to a certain point as well for you. So if you have those reel position speed sensors. Header lateral tilt, so we run lateral tilt with a platform head, make sure that's selected to yes. And then on this 8250 combine, it does have the hydraulic adjust faceplate, so we're going to want to make sure that the reel or your shift fore and aft controls your faceplate, so that sets to the feeder features and for that setting. Once we know that we've got Head 1 and Head 2 set up in our monitor, we're going to go ahead and calibrate our head. To do that, we press our back button. We're going to go to Calibrations, and across the bottom we should be on the Calibrate tab, and we're going to see a white box up top. We're going to press that white box and select Header. Once I've selected Header, we're going to press OK, and the first step is we're going to press our minus button and release, and that's going to lower the head to the ground. So right now it's going to lower the head all the way down, and the feeder house is going to kind of push towards the ground to get that full range out of it. Once that's completed, we'll move on to step 2. So step 1 is completed. Step 2, we press and hold our plus button, and now our head's going to raise up for us. Once it gets all the way to the top, it waits a second. We've completed that step. I press and release my negative button to lower the head down again. This step takes a little bit longer as it's going to try to detect the head weight and determine what pressures are needed to make that head move up and down. So this step takes a little bit of time to complete. Now that step is completed, our last step is step 4. We press our header raise button, so we hit the plus button and release, and the head's actually going to go down and then it'll come back up. So don't let that catch you off guard if you go down, if the feeder house goes down when you press the raise button right away. During this step, it also does our lateral tilt calibration. Make sure all the sensors are reading correctly in that step as well. Now that step has completed, or we've gone through our head calibration, our next step is we need to set our set points 1 and 2. So I'm going to raise my head up, probably about halfway up in the air at this point. Once I've done that, we need to do our set points 1 and 2. I'm going to turn on my separator. Then I'm going to turn on my feeder house to turn my head on. Once I've done that, I'm going to lower the head down to the height that I want to combine at. Once we're at the height we want to combine at, I press number 1 on my right hand console. I then press and raise to hold my head up to the height I want to turn around at on the end of the field. Once I'm at that height, I'll press number 2 to set my other set point. From this point we can press our resume button on our hand control, and that's going to lower the head down to the height I want to combine at. And then once we would get to the end of the field, we'd press our resume button again, and the head's going to raise to the height we want to turn around at on our headlands. Now, one other thing we want to double check is we want to make sure that our head is turning on and off acres correctly when you get to the end of the field. To double check that, from the height we're raised at, we're going to lower our head down just a little bit above the height we turn around at, and on our monitor we're going to press our back button. We're going to go to toolbox, and on our head 1 tab up at the top is our max work height. We press the max work height, we hit the set button, and that sets the point at which our GPS logging is going to kick on and off our acres when we're turning around on the end of the field. I press enter. And now as you were to raise and lower your head with your resume button, it's going to kick on and off the logging of GPS on your combine. We hope you found this video helpful in getting your platform head set up on your Pro 700 monitor with a flagship series combine. For other helpful videos, please check us out on the Red Power Team website or on our YouTube